Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Learning Resources Workshop on Procrastination, and your workshop leader is Kimberly Logan-Hines, and she will start the presentation in a minute. Just to let you know, I have pressed the recording, so we are recording this workshop, and I will be paying attention to the chat. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to use it. And I'm sure Kimberly will also make time during the presentation for questions as well. So with that, Kimberly, if you're ready, go ahead, take it away.
I'm ready. Thanks for that great introduction, Terry. Hi, I'm Kimberly Logan-Hines, and this is our workshop called Procrastination, How to Start Now. I'm going to be giving you some effective strategies for improving your productivity and maybe not feeling so bad about procrastination, because we all know that procrastination makes us feel bad. I'm your presenter, Kimberly. I'm a writing tutor at Wolfson campus. I've had a technical theater career in costuming, and I'm also an archivist at Brockway Memorial Library in Miami Shores. These objectives are, we're going to talk about what triggers procrastination, how to start, the flat outline concept by Cal Newport, and how to feel calmer. That's the part that's sort of near and dear to my part of a more holistic approach to getting through your procrastination issues. Let's see, what triggers procrastination? Procrastination is from the Latin verb procrastinare, to put off until tomorrow, and the ancient Greek word akrasia, doing something against our better judgment. So this definition of the Latin and the Greek of putting off something and knowing that it's against your better judgment, it always makes me chuckle a bit. What triggers procrastination? Well, it's the emotional part of your brain. It's hijacking the logical part to make us feel better. Your brain will always come up with an idea to give you an excuse not to do something. According to Tim Pitchell, the author of Solving the Procrastination Puzzle, some triggers for procrastination can be tasks that are boring or not intrinsically rewarding, tasks that can be frustrating or difficult, tasks that are ambiguous or unstructured, and tasks that are lacking in personal meaning. So what kind of paper? And this is really structured around research papers, but there's also general tips for general procrastination if you don't want to go out and mow the lawn or fold the laundry or go out and buy that new car. There's all kinds of ways to procrastinate and make excuses for your behavior. But with a professor, one way that you can help yourself is to use the prompt or rubric to determine exactly what kind of paper to write and the specific research length and style requirements. This is going to help you work smart so that you know exactly how much work you have to do. And at that point, you can break it down into small chunks or segments so that you can make a plan to get these chunks done. Once you get a little chunk done, hey, give yourself a little reward. That's one way to help yourself with procrastination. There are different types of papers: argument, opposing viewpoint, exploratory research, compare and contrast. I helped a student with one of those yesterday. So there's multiple types of papers. Know what you're going to be writing about so that you can write the correct kind of paper. The Purdue OWL, the Online Writing Lab, is a resource, and it has many examples of different types of papers. And it also has explanations of all of the writing styles, especially the APA 7th edition and the new MLA edition as well. Before you start your paper, go ahead, understand the assignment. I just briefly talked about that. Ask your professor if you are unclear on anything. Do you need 3 academic resources? Do you need 5? I have a history professor that I am an embedded tutor for, and she lists out in her rubric exactly how many college level research research references that you need to have in your paper. If you want to get an A, you need 5. If you want to get a B, you need 4, etc. So she outlines exactly what you need to do to get an A on her paper. Research wisely. Set a time limit. Follow the rubric for the number and types of resources. Also, be aware that doing too much research is also a form of procrastination. Sorry, yeah, I caught you on that one. Create a productive environment to work in. Work in a quiet place. Okay, remove your digital distractions. We all know that your phone, your iPad, your computer those are all competing for your attention. Okay, set a timer, hopefully not on your device, or put your device in another room so that you can go ahead and hear that alarm go off for, maybe 15 minutes is all you can hammer out right now. Set it for 15 minutes. Getting started is your main goal. All right, the flat outline, this concept by Cal Newport. A lot of us were taught from grade school on about the hierarchical outline with the Roman numerals and everything, and about, starting with your introduction, and then the research, and then your conclusions. Well, with a flat outline concept, you don't build a hierarchical outline. Instead, you list the topics that you want to tackle in the order that you want to tackle them. And you're going to probably, in your Word program, go ahead and open up several different blank pages and title those pages. Oh, I need to do research on the women's suffrage movement around the turn of the 19th century. Okay, so you'll have a page for that. Then you want to, I need to know the political viewpoint during that time. So you'll have a page for that. So anytime you have a theme of research, open up a paper for that and start dumping in your quotes. Any relevant quotes, just go ahead and paste them right onto that page, of course, with your references in there as well. Revisit the library to find sources for the topics that you still need to enrich yourself with. Okay, so if you need like a little skimpy on one area, go talk to the librarian. You can book an appointment with the research librarian online, and they can help you out with references. Transform your topic level outline into your paper. So you don't start from a blank screen. Okay, you're not sitting there looking at something blank going, oh, what am I supposed to write? You have all of these ideas already in your flat outline pages. Okay, so the flat outline gives you just enough structure to overcome the dreaded blank canvas while still leaving room for discovery. And that quote's from Ransom Patterson in his College Info Geek website, which is also a really good resource for those of you out there that need help. Okay, work smarter. Here's some tips to help you navigate your time a little bit more helpfully. Schedule your work time on your calendar. Set up reminders. So it's like you make a date with yourself to do your work. Okay? Just like you would have a date with a friend for coffee, make a date, make an appointment with yourself. It's like, yes, I'm going to write on my paper for 30 minutes. Tell a friend about your project so they can hold you accountable. If your friend's like, well, no, we're not going to be going out for coffee. You haven't done your paper yet. You might be angry at your friend, but at least somebody's going to be holding you accountable. make a deal with yourself to work for a specific amount of time, and then give yourself a small reward. So yeah, go ahead and set up that appointment for 30 minutes. Tell your friend you're going to work for 30 minutes, and then make a date afterwards for coffee. You've gotten a little bit done already, and you've kept your word to your friend. So by breaking your project up into manageable chunks, okay, you can get a lot done. And one of the biggest things to overcome in procrastination, in getting started, is to just get started. You'll find that once you have gotten started, that it's easier to keep going. Yes, it's easier to keep going and write just a little bit more. And you can do that. Once you've got some stuff going, bribe yourself, go ahead, check your Insta, play Fortnite. Even better, go for a jog or go out for a coffee. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Any questions about that flat outline concept? Was there a question in the chat?
Nothing yet, Kimberly.
Okay, great. All right, moving on. So what's next? We all know about the importance of the thesis statement. So the three main parts of your paper that you can do after the main body of your research is written are your thesis statement, your introduction, and your conclusion. So at the beginning, you're going to keep your thesis statement in mind while doing your research, but be flexible. Sometimes you do your research and you find that your thesis statement, the question that you're asking for your research, is not applicable anymore, that you found research that refutes that. So you have to be flexible with your thesis statement. Start writing the body of your paragraphs, which is again where you're going to be using those pages from your flat outline, referring back to the idea of your thesis statement. Write the main body of your paragraphs. Then at the end, you can fine-tune your thesis statement, you can fine-tune your introduction, and fine-tune your conclusion after the main body of your paper, so that you can fit those arguments that you have come up with, and you can make sure that your research supports your conclusions. Not just your conclusion, also your thesis statement, introduction, and your conclusion. They all support each other. These are the three legs of the stool of your paper. Always allow yourself enough time to have at least one appointment with a learning resources writing tutor if you feel like you need that. It's always great to have a fresh set of eyes. You can also use your Word program, Microsoft Word. You can set that up so that you can input the information for your references. If you put that in as you go, then you'll have less work to put in at the end. So it'll leave you more room for editing. All right, feeling calmer. Procrastination really plays into, it's a shaming kind of a thing. We feel bad because we procrastinate, and yet we find it difficult not to procrastinate. And for some people, this is really a problem. So by feeling calmer, you can get your mind in the right frame of mind to get some work done. And sometimes aromatherapy, I don't know how many of you are familiar with aromatherapy, but you can certainly find these commonly available aromatherapy oils are stimulating to your mind. You can find them at the vitamin shop, at Whole Foods, all kinds of places have these kinds of oils. Peppermint is very stimulating. Rosemary it's a little pungent and strong, but it is also very stimulating. And grapefruit is my favorite, and it's this really blast of citrus, and it just really makes me want to well, not get up and work, but to at least it makes me feel vibrant. Breathing exercises. Box breathing can reduce your stress and help you feel calmer as well. If you like to listen to music, find something that doesn't have words to it. I know on Spotify I like to listen to Deep Focus or Intense Studying. Those are really great kinds of instrumental playlists that you can listen to when you're trying to get some work done. And if you find that your environment is too noisy, the lawn guys might be outside or something, play a little music like that to try to deaden the extraneous sounds and keep you focused on track on your paper. Anybody have any questions about any of these things?
Kimberly, we have a request to see if you can raise your volume a bit.
Oh, sorry. Is that better? I'm sitting closer.
And
well, since I'm not saying anything, you can't really hear me, can you?
Yeah, no, well, I'll see if they respond. Thank you, because I was hearing you fine, but it was a question on the chat.
Perfect.
And then personally, I don't know what box breathing is. Can you describe it?
Well, I can. Here's our mindful breathing activity, box breathing. Awesome. Okay, box breathing is used by the Navy SEALs to teaches them, trains them to breathe in a calm manner when they are in stressful situations. So by breathing in a certain way, you can it gives more oxygen to your brain, it calms you down, and it allows you to think more clearly. Okay, so it stimulates your brain to concentrate. It's easy to do and nobody knows that you're doing it. It's useful against stress. So box breathing, you breathe in for 4 counts, you hold it for 4 counts, you breathe out for 4 counts, and you hold that breath out for 4 counts. So if anybody wants to follow along, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try this maybe like for 3 times. So breathe in through your nose, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, breathe out through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, hold the breath out, 2, 3, 4, breathe in through your nose, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out through your mouth, 2, 3, 4, and hold that, 2, 3, 4. So you can see that this breathing, it calms you down by refocusing your mind on your breathing. And this is great for when you're in traffic, when your kids are giving you grief, when your boss is talking to you about feedback that may not be pleasant to hear. Box breathing can be your friend, just like it's the friend of the Navy SEALs. Okay, are you feeling bad about procrastination? Well, procrastination is a self-sabotaging behavior, okay? The longer you put off a task, the bigger and more urgent it becomes. Yes, it never goes away. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Self-compassion, loving yourself and honoring yourself, is a valuable tool in helping to reduce those kinds of negative feelings. Procrastination generates stress and feelings of low self-worth. Okay? To get yourself out of the downward spiral, change your behavior for the better. And how can you do that? Well, you can make plans. You can use project management software like Microsoft Planner. You can make a paper list of things that you have to do and when you're going to do them. The more organization that you have and the earlier you get started on your project, the better off you'll be. You can always, again, come in the tutors at the, at Learning Resources, and they can help you at every aspect of your experience with having to write a paper. You need help with an outline? Yeah, we can help you with that. You need help from a research librarian about how and what sources to use? They can help you with that. You've written the main body of your paper, you don't know if your thesis statement matches, we can help you. There's lots of things that Learning Resources can help you use to write a really excellent paper. Now, I've mentioned some things here. I mentioned the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which is OWL, the Purdue OWL. It has information about writing papers and outline plans, different types of papers. College Info Geek has a large variety of college-geared information about procrastination, as well as about how to write papers and things like that. The APA Style Guide is really helpful if you're writing in an APA style paper. And the Greater Good Science Center, which is associated with the University of California, Berkeley, they do science-based happiness practices. And you can get help, and it's all free too. It's a wonderful website. You can get help with self-compassion, gratitude, resilience, stress reduction, all kinds of things. And they have it for all age levels, as well as for businesses and students and just regular people too. So that's a really excellent kind of a resource to learn more about self-compassion and how to feel better while you're under stress. And here's some references. Can self-compassion overcome procrastination? She makes an interesting point. Anybody have any more questions? Somebody rose their hand. Any questions?
Yeah, Ariane raised her hand. Ariane, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for this talk. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about those who say that they work best under pressure, because I know that a lot of people will put off things to the last moment, but then say they get sort of a big rush when the deadline is looming, and they do their best work under pressure.
Well, then those people probably aren't here at this workshop, Yeah, some people do feel like they work better under pressure. I'm not one of those people, though. I feel like you have a better product if you have planned it out and spent time on it, rather than jumbling something together and hoping for the best. The people that work under pressure don't allow themselves usually enough time to come and see a writing tutor. And while that's not a requirement by any stretch of the imagination, it can be helpful to polish your paper and to, learn about potential pitfalls. I have had students that come in and like, oh, their paper's due at 3 o'clock. They have an appointment with me at 1, and I'm looking at the rubric and they haven't done everything that the professor, has asked for. They only have, say, three research or 3 references instead of 5 or something. So how are they going to succeed if they do it so quickly? That being said, so many people have a lot of classes. They have kids, they have jobs, they have maybe 2 jobs, and they're trying to better themselves by going to college. Yeah, they might have to stay up till 3 o'clock, but you don't have to feel bad about it. If you could just even take a few steps at the beginning to organize your thoughts and to do a little bit of work in little chunks, you might be better off. But yeah, there's always, Ariane, going to be those folks that say, yeah, I work better under pressure. Yeah, you know, I've pulled all-nighters in college. I just can't handle that physically anymore.
I completely understand.
Thanks for your question. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Terry, are you going to post the survey?
Yes, so I am asking if you all can take a minute and respond to our survey so that we can get your feedback. So I just put the link in the chat. Yeah, I think that should work.
I'm going to call any more time for any more questions. My email's up there if anybody wants to email me.